Hello everyone, buongiorno. Welcome to a demonstration video for an inside view of euromagdata.com. Euromag Data is a cloud available for all flow meters with inbuilt modem. Our integrated modem is capable to deliver information through SMS, email with or without attachment, and to our cloud. This service is free of charge, and a customer is free to decide to use the service or not upon his needs. So, now let's have a look together inside our web server. To access, simply use the ID and password provided from factory or from your local dealer. You will be able to change the password upon first logged in. Once logged in, you will have access to many features. Let's have a look. We are now logged in and we have different features available right now. So the first one is customers. Depending on the license of your ID, you will have access on creating a customer list and the possibility to add new customers. But we will see this later. Let's have a look at the sensor page. On this page, we will have all data transmitted from our flow meters. Again, all flow meters provided with the inbuilt modem and programmed to send the data to the cloud. So, once we click on the sensors, we will have access to the page of all the list of sensors. Here is the sensor page. In this page you have all the list of all the sensor purchased with the inbuilt modem. Alternatively, instead of looking at the list, you can also browse your sensor directly from the map. Scrolling the map is simple, is just the Google Maps. So let's have a look at an actual flow meter installed. This flow meter is installed in southern of Italy, Sicily. We will access to this sensor by clicking on the link of the map, and here will pop up the name of the flow meter. This is a name given by the customer, and then of course the serial number of the flow meter. By clicking on Go to Sensor, we will have access to the data transmitted from the sensor. So, here we are. On the right part of the page, we have the last data being transmitted. So, date and time, instant flow on that specific moment, total positive and total negative, pressure and temperature. Of course, in case you have a pressure and temperature feature, this flow meter is actually reading both flow and pressure. In fact, in the graph, you have all data transmitted. We can scroll along the time frame or select the possibility to read just the pressure values or just the flow values, or both of them together. We can see and select the date and time we want to see the data. So let's assume we want to see the data from June 1st to July 21st, and here it is. Displayed on the graph only the data transmitted between June 1st and July 21st. This graph is the result of the data transmitted available here, sensor data. So we have the first line, it's the log ID. So it's the ID of the log transmitted, the instant flow on that specific moment, total positive, total negative, date and time, temperature, pressure, voltage of the board, and eventually any type of error which is recorded from the data logger of the converter. I have to remind that all Euromag all Euromag converters have an inbuilt data logging, active data logging, which is set factory settings at 1 log every 15 minutes. A customer is free to select any other frequency of logging, and the data transmitted will be, of course, according to the frequency of log into the converter. We have the ability to export this data, so once you select a date, an initial date and a final date you want to view the data, we can click on Export CSV, and we will download a CSV file, which is nothing else than an Excel file, with all the data transmitted. So exactly the same data you see here will be downloaded on a CSV file. So as you can see, you have a log ID, converter ID, sensor ID, and all related information, line by line. Temperature, voltage, pressure, eventually battery, if it's a battery flow meter, and any other type of information relevant to the flow meter. Then something else we can do on this page is we can edit the sensor. By editing the sensor, we can do several things. First of all, we can set 4 types of alarms. Let's have a look one by one. The first one is interval alarm. So let's assume we want a communication to the cloud once every week. For example, we set 7 and we select days. And we enable it. This means that if the cloud will not receive any data within 7 days, will send us an alarm. It means that something happened. Then we have another alarm, which is flow alarm. So we can set a minimum flow or maximum flow we want to control. In this case, the customer has set a value of 298 cubic meter per hour and a maximum flow of 308 cubic meter per hour. So they want to know when the flow will go below 298 or above 308. Other values, other alarms we can set are the pressure alarm and temperature alarm. This, of course, in case we have a pressure sensor connected to the flow meter or a temperature sensor connected to the flow meter. In this case, customer has set a maximum pressure of 7.1 bar. It means that above this value, the cloud will send a message to the customer. Another important feature we have is the possibility to set an FTP setting, so FTP communication. In this case, the customer can enable an FTP communication and will program the cloud to transmit the data to its own server. So the data will be transmitted from our cloud directly to the customer server. Alternatively, customer is also able to make a direct FTP communication from the converter to its own server. But in this case, he will lose the opportunity to use our cloud, of course. Below, we can set the link to the Google Maps. So we can choose the position of our flow meter into the map. And instead, here, we can give a name to our sensor. We have another very interesting feature, which is a flow limit monitor. So let's assume this flow meter is installed into a field and it's providing water to a farmer. And this farmer has, let's say, they have 120 trees. Okay, and we know that we have to provide, let's say, 1,500 cubic meters per day. And then we also have, for example, palms. And we have to provide 2,000 cubic meter a day to the palms. I made this example, but let's assume that instead of trees, we have, for example, hospitals, and we have houses, and we have schools, to which we have to provide 1,000 cubic meter per day. So this is giving us the possibility to monitor our daily consumption and to understand if we are using enough water or too much water in the system. So once we add this information, we update the sensor. Once we go on the main page, we will have always the same graph like before, but we will also have another graph, which is this one. So here we have the expected flow, which is 4,500 cubic meter per day. And I can see immediately that we are using a lot more water than expected. So immediately we have a view of what should be the system doing and what is in reality doing. So we can also evaluate if we have a leak. So we expect the 4,500 cubic meter per day, but instead we are using, in this case, almost 8,000. So there must be a problem, possibly a leak or something else. Last thing we want to show you is how to create a customer. Let's go on customers and add customer. In here, we have the possibility to add a customer ID, select a password. Again, customer will be able to modify the password upon first login and choose an email address. By submitting, we are going to create a new customer. This is all for now. Thank you for your kind attention. Please don't hesitate to contact us for any further question or help. We also suggest and recommend to visit our website, Euromag.com, with all updated features on our products and our flow meters. Thank you, and bye-bye.